Hello and good morning. We're in week 4-2 and today is 11-9. Make sure you put a heading on your bell work. Remember, if you turn in bell work before week 9, you will be penalized. So let's take a look at this one right here. Let's think about this one. Well, you get paid $20 an hour, you work 40 hours. So that's going to be 40 hours times your pay per hour plus 3 hours times overtime, which is double time, so that's $40, right? 20 plus 20 would make double time, so that would be 40. And you're going to go ahead and multiply. 4 times 2 is 8, so that's 800. 3 times 4 is 12, so that's 120. Your paycheck, your gross paycheck, will be $920 for the week. Okay, any questions on that one? All right, let's take a look at this next one here. Go to page 301 and copy this down. Okay, so you're going to work 40 hours times some hourly amount, which we don't know. Okay, plus you have 7 hours of OT, and you get 1.5 times whatever X is. And X is your hourly rate. Okay? So time and a half times how much you get paid an hour, and you work 7 hours, is equal to $611.05. Okay, so there's the setup. So when you work yours today, go back to this example here. So you're going to get 40x here plus 7 times 1.5 is 10.5, and I'm looking in the book on that one. Now you're going to add these up, and that's going to be 50.5. And if you divide, you should get your answer. So you're going to take 611 divided by 50.5, and that should give you your salary. Your hourly rate is $12.10 an hour. Okay? And that's on page 310, or 301 rather. Page 301. Let's go to the next one, example 7. Okay, let's take a look at this one. Okay, so you have R regular hours. Okay, so copy that down. So R is your hours. Okay, times some hourly amount, which we don't know. Plus, you have your overtime hours. You get paid time and a half, so that's 1.5 times your hourly rate, which is X, is equal to 700. There's the formula. So if you get stuck, again, go back to this problem here. What you want to do is factor out an X. See, both of these have an X. So when you factor out an X, you're left with R plus 1.5T is equal to this. And then you're going to divide by all of this and get your hourly rate. So it's going to be 700 divided by, this is where the algebra comes in. And there it is. That's your hourly rate. Okay, so for today, here's your assignment. I want you to finish the rest of these up. The answers are in the back. And remember, if you get stuck on some of these, go back to the examples. Okay? All right, let's finish this up. Let's turn our attention to period 7. Okay, so period 7 is right here. This right here is a special case, so it's y is -2. Put your tick mark sideways, and so your line looks like this. This one has a slope of 0. It's a flat line. This one right here is going to be plus 0, so your y-intercept is 0. Your slope is up 3, 1, 2, 3, and then to the right 1. So that line looks like that. That's number 2. Number 3 says find parallel and perpendicular, and you need to know this for your next test. Well, parallel is going to have the same slope, so there's your slope. So for parallel, you want to use 3 over 1 or just 3. For perpendicular, you're going to flip that and change it, so you want a -1/3. So it's going to be y minus your y is equal to your slope for parallel, and then x minus your x. Okay, there it is. And the only difference for perpendicular is you change that to -1/3. Everything else is the same. Make sure you understand parallel and perpendicular. Perpendicular you have to do two things. Hold up two fingers. You have to do two things. Let's go on a new sheet of paper. Copy down everything you see right here. Okay, we're talking about functions here. In 2.2, we're going to be on page, I want you to open up your book. It looks like page 174. So page 174. Okay, create a function. Well, what you need to know is if you have points like this, so just copy this down like that. And there's something called a vertical line test. So if you do a vertical line and it hits only one point, it's a function. So this one is yes. To create something that's not a function, you would stack them. So copy that down. And you see if you do the vertical line test on this, it hits 2 points. So this one is not a function. Now let's analyze this. Let's say this is over 3 up 2. Okay, so 3, 2. And let's say this point is over 3 up 4. Okay, the problem with this is your domain and your range. Write that down, domain and range. The problem with this, and I'm going to make it a little smaller, is the domain, which is 3, for both of these, has a 2 and also has a 4. And you're not allowed to have that. Okay? So every x must have only one y. Now, the converse of that is not true. The y can have the same x. That's allowed. But the x is only allowed to have one y, or range. So that is not a function. It fails the vertical line test. Let's take a look at this one right here and see which ones of these are functions. Let's solve for y. Okay? And then what you do is you just plug in some numbers and see if it works. So we're going to use x and y, domain and range, 0, 1, 2. You might even try negative. Okay? So when you put 0, 0 squared is 0. You got to square it first. The negative makes it a negative 0, which is just 0. Okay? And this should have been plus 1. So 0 plus 1 is 1. And then this one right here, 1 squared is 1, but that makes it a negative 1. And 1 minus 1 is 0. And then this 2 is 2 squared is 4. That negative makes it a negative 4, so that makes that a negative 3. A negative 1 squared is 1, but that negative makes it a negative, and that gives you 0 here. So let's see that. This 0 only has 1. This 1 only has 0. This 2 only has negative 3. This negative 1 only has 0. Okay? So each x only has one y. Now these y's have different x's, but that's allowed. This would pass the vertical line test. Let's take a look at this one. This one right here, you're going to move the x over here, and you're going to get y squared equals x plus 1. And then you're going to take the square root. And because it becomes plus or minus 1, then that gives you two different values. So this one would not be a function. Make sure you check your answers today. Let's take a look at example 3. This one right here, all you do is just plug in your 2. So it's going to be negative, and then 2 squared plus 4 times 2 plus 1. And then you work that out. Remember, you got to square this first and then pop the negative on it. So that would be a negative 4 plus 8 plus 1. That gives you 4 plus 1. I get 5 out of that. This one right here, you're going to plug all of this in place of the x. So it's going to be, and I want you to pay attention to this, it's going to be a negative, and then x plus 2 quantity squared plus 4 times x plus 2 plus 1. So you got to do FOIL on this and then distribute the negative. So it's going to be x plus 2, x plus 2, and then we can distribute this one real easy, 4x plus 8 plus 1. You have to do FOIL, and then you got to change your signs of all of this. And then finish it up. One more, It says find f of x equal to 0. Well, this is f of x. So what you're going to do is just substitute a 0 in place of that and then work this out. You could use the quadratic equation, but I think this one factors according to the book. So it's 2 and 3. You know, a negative and a positive is 2 negatives. So you're going to get x minus 2 equals 0, and x plus, or x minus 3 is equal to 0. So x is equal to 2, and x is equal to 3. And we're done. And that's how you do that. Today, I want you to do these problems right here. I want you to read first. So look over these examples and then go to work. If you get stuck, check the back of the book or ask me. Have a good morning. 2.2.